What's up, everybody? It's me, JB, the ultimate writer from the Fight Bros podcast. Myself and Anaru caught up last night. We had a good chat about a bunch of stuff. We did some in the pocket recent MMA news. We talked about the ongoing fallout from UFC 200, including Mark Hunt, Brock Lesnar, etc. We talk about PEDs in MMA, which is part of that discussion. We also touch on Benson Henderson and an interview that he did with Ariel Helwani, where he talks about the contrast between the sponsorship available to Bellator athletes and the sponsorship available to UFC athletes. We move on to the UFC 202 breakdown and Anaru's overwhelming love for Conor McGregor, put some respect on his name, and the last thing that we touch on is the UFC Fighters Association, but there's a bit more stuff in there too. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe. Cheers. What's up, everybody? This is the Five Bros podcast. You're with myself, JB, and
Kia ora, it's Anaru here. Thanks for having me, JB, and nice to be here on a lovely, cool Sunday night, mate, talking shit. And what are we talking about today?
Well, I got a bunch of stuff that has popped up over the last sort of 24 hours, etc., and I'm sure you've got some stuff that you're keen to talk about as well.
That's right. Very keen to get a few things off my chest, mate.
Caught up with Ev Ting.
I did too. I did that yesterday or the day before. He's a good dude, man. He's a good dude. Yeah, it was easy to talk to. He always had something to say, you know, and I just wish him all the best. You know, I met that dude, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe 6, at Auckland MMA, and before that I'd seen him fight a couple of times under Supremacy and ICNZ, I believe. And I remember the first time I saw him at Supremacy, man, and I think he did a flying knee, maybe finished this dude with a head kick and some ground and pound, and that was all I needed to see. And I remember that dude forever after that. And then just meeting him and him coaching me for a few months there, man, I just know he's a really good dude, and I just want to support him any way I can, you know.
Yeah, it was great. Like, he was one of my very first interviews. Like, you know, he was like halfway through a weight cut. He was filling out interview questions from me, etc., emailing them back. And dude, he's a great guy, and you know, he's always been supportive. And like yourself, I've always been supportive of Ev.
Yeah, just want to see him do well, you know, and just want to know where he's at and what's happening. I was over the moon when I heard he was fighting Rob at main event in Malaysia, where he was born. Fantastic news, man. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, that's right. It's awesome to see a Kiwi doing so well, especially you know, the Kiwi Malaysian who can do so well in his hometown, and as well as represent New Zealand. Like, you know, like he said in the interview, he'll always represent Auckland MMA, and you know, he'll always have a part in New Zealand MMA in our scene himself. So that was a great interview, dude.
Yeah, cheers, man. And like, just a good dude, a good proponent of the sport, respectful. Like, you know, someone you'd like your kid to go, oh man, that dude Ev Ting, oh, I'd love to be like him, or you know, the way he carries himself, man, that'd be cool. Like someone was talking about that. If Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, if your kid had Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's poster on the wall, you'd be like, fuck yeah, bro, like look up to that dude, you know. There's some out there that you probably might not think that way.
No, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously, fighters come in all shapes, sizes, and personalities. So, you know, not like any human being, not every one of them is an example that you'd want your kids to follow. But yeah, speaking of people who are starting to make big moves, Cody Garbrandt has he has been getting into a bit of a social media tussle, at least with Dominic Cruz. Cruiser has been running his mouth. He's been saying that he is going to stitch Cody Garbrandt's mouth shut. And Cody Garbrandt has come back and basically said, let's do this then. The MMA Junkie caught up with him. He had a lot to say, a huge amount to say, to be honest. So, that looks like it's one that's brewing. Looks like a good fight coming up. Your thoughts on that?
What I know is after, so I haven't seen or read as much as you have at this point in time, but after the second or the third Uriah fight, Uriah was talking about Cody, and Dominic seemed to like brush it off as he didn't even know who the hell Cody was. And then today or yesterday, I saw the article about Dominic Cruz. He's going to have to eat through a straw, and it was out of the blues to me. I haven't caught up, but my thoughts on that is I don't see anyone beating Dominic Cruz at the moment, but then Cody obviously has that KO power and the hunger and all that history, alpha male stuff. I'd watch it. It sounds that's a sold fight to me. I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, dude, like that is, that's something that he mentions. He talks about it being a great marketable fight. Agree with you, and also, I'm of the same mind. Dominic Cruz, he has just shown that he is the next level, and in his absence, other people stepped up. They kind of looked like they might have been getting to that level, but he sort of exposed that he is actually the next level still.
Yeah, man, and I don't know about you, but I see there's almost this not awakening. That's a bit powerful, but the fighters are sitting back after that fight. They're not. Well, some of them, they're not calling out someone straight away, and they sit back and they listen to the social media and they get their feelings, and then they do pick that fight. He doesn't have to fight Cody, but he knows it'll sell. And Dominic's not the most exciting guy in the world. He's very technical, and a lot of guys, martial artists or guys, like watching his style. But that fight sells. The history. He's picked a good opponent there. That's a done deal as far as I'm concerned. Just from what you've said, it's done.
Yeah, that's a it's like you say, it's a continuation of the Faber alpha male, alpha fail, as Cruz likes to call them. It's just, it's that same storyline just getting more and more developed. And, it's like he's the boss that has shut down everyone, past and present from that team. Like, he shut down the king of that hill as well, as well as the guy who wanted to be the king and then moved up north to go and be the king in his own hill. He's done all the work. So Cody Garbrandt, he's more of a traditional sort of heavy-handed striker. But, obviously, alpha male, they all have a pedigree in the striking as well as the grinding.
Yeah, that story's, writes itself. It's an easy fight to sell. Obviously, he's adding to the fire, like, I'll break your mouth. I don't know last time fucking Dominic Cruz broke anyone's mouth or even came close to it, but that sells a fight, that's done in my, that's a good fight.
Like another fight I would definitely watch with Cruz involved would be the Mighty Mouse rematch.
Absolutely, that's the other one. But Mighty Mouse wants to break records. He said it himself. He wants to break records, and then that super fight will come. But fucking, I don't like waiting for super fights. Myself, I'm selfish. I want the super fight as soon as I can get the super fight, or you miss out like your GSP and Silva or Silva and Jones. That shit just is never going to happen now.
Well, any fight, we've seen in the past, any fight could be a super fight. There are fights on the undercards and on the free fight pass prelims that are better than main event cards.
Yeah, but the context I'm talking about is like two champs or
championships,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Speaking of GSP, obviously this week, Tyron Woodley, Dana White has announced an opponent for him. Were you up to speed with that one? Obviously,
I heard that today, and it will be my man Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's coming in swinging, bro. and
Yeah.
Tyron's going to walk into the wood chipper, and it's going to be glorious, I believe.
Yeah, well, that's right. Thompson, if he can just play it smart, play it safe, use his elusive athleticism, etc., to tire out Woodley, and then
Yep.
just put him away. Then, obviously that's a lot of people's plans, but in terms of athleticism to match Tyron Woodley, not many people are up there with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
No, not at all. And the karate elusive style, the switching of the stances, that's got to play into we know Tyron's going to try and get that massive strike, and that's got to be one of the hardest guys to hit with something like that. So awesome fight, man, and well deserved to Stephen Thompson. I thought it might have gone to GSP, but GSP seems to be just fucking us around. I don't know what's happening there.
Well, Woodley actually has. Woodley has come back and said, just everyone just chill out. He's like, I'm the champion. He's like, He's actually come back and said, I'll be the one who decides who the fight is and when the fight is. So, there could be a bit of beef brewing there. We've seen what's happened in the past when people have tried to sort of bite the hand that feeds them in the UFC. So you never know what could be brewing there.
Yeah, I think he's pissing in the wind, mate. He might be trying to get a bit more money, but Dana decides, Joe Silva decide, and Sean Selby decide. Tyron's not deciding shit, mate. He's not deciding shit. And but I like, this is all like this education of the fighters of, keep playing, man. Like, you might get another extra 100 G's or fucking, and you just keep your name in there, and then Dana's going to retort, and then it's all games, bro.
Builds more hype for the fight. Exactly, that's right. There really isn't a loser, unless the fight breaks down due to USADA testing, things like that.
Yeah, or injuries.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of some recent testing, Ken Shamrock, obviously, his most recent fight was against Hoist Gracie, lost, and then was done for pissing incredibly hot. His testosterone to epitestosterone level was 12.5 to 1.
Wow.
So that's like that. I believe that's like up there in Overeem sort of level. He was 13 to 1.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Is it 6 normal? 6.
Yeah. So Shamrock is 40 plus. And he's got twice as much testosterone as a 20-year-old.
Bro, it's Ken Shamrock we're talking about here. It was his what was it? His third fight with Hoist or whatever. He wanted to win that fight, man. He wanted to win that fight. Yeah, bro. And I wanted him to win that fight, and he fucking got. Wow, it looked like he got kneed in the balls, but it didn't look that hard. And he went down and he got fucking ground and pounded. That was a while ago now. Did he get ground and pounded out by Hoist Gracie? Like, I would have done anything to win that fight as well, bro. And I got nothing bad to say about Ken Shamrock. He's a fucking legend.
So, you saw something funny on Mark's page?
Me? I just did see something funny on Mark's page. Mark has been going very hard. Off. He's been going off on his social media regarding the Brock Lesnar failed drug test that we all knew he was going to fail. The thing that's not concerning me, but I guess the thing that I'm seeing a lot now is he has a very good point, but he seems to go on his page and relish the negative comments. He seems to bathe in it, and I mean, so far as to 2 days ago, he was going to go meet a guy down at the pub and teach him how to fight. He was asking this guy to friend request him. He was asking this guy for his address, and that might be all fun and games, but it's the negative energy he's bringing on and involving himself in, where he doesn't respond to anyone who's saying, "Yeah, Mark, you deserve that money, bro. I fucking love you." He's only responding to the trolls and that's
Yep.
unhealthy. I've seen that before. It's not a good thing. You don't want all that negative. I mean, imagine how he feels when he gets off that computer. I mean, he might think that he is potentially, sticking it up them, but I mean, they are nobodies. And here's Mark Hunt, and he's wasting all that energy and that time on these people. I don't think it's great.
That's
That's
the old
my
saying,
opinion.
you don't want to lower yourself to other people's standards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my 2 cents about that. I mean, he's got a lot of support, and he doesn't give any of those guys the time of day. Maybe I haven't seen it. Maybe he does, but I know I can scroll right now and see him replying to 10 fucking trolls easy, and because I just fucking looked at it,
That's right.
and I don't think that's yeah, man. Why, bro? You're Mark fucking Hunt, man. Like, don't feed those trolls, man. Fuck them.
I said to
Not
sorry,
on
to
its back.
Dan Hooker, I caught up with him the other week, and he said exactly that. He said, "Don't feed the trolls," which is, that's probably the best sentiment there is. There's no point giving those guys more ammo, as well as potentially turning your supporters to detractors.
Yeah, what I've seen because obviously I follow Mark constantly
Yeah,
is just multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. And there was a guy. I mean, it's like this now. There was a guy there. He said something fucking stupid, and then the next guy goes, "Oh, how many?" Called him out on it, right? And his answer was, "I just wanted Mark to fucking reply to me."
wow. See,
That's all he was. That's what he was there for. He just wanted
yeah,
that, feeling which some people have out there in the fucking that if I could do whatever I have to do to get Mark to fucking know that I'm alive, that's enough, and it's all negative because that's what he's um,
attracted
feeding off at the moment.
attraction. If you want to
Yeah,
focus on everything negative, then the negativity will find you.
I am, and it's growing and growing. And his yeah, that's my thoughts on it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I am a big one for not feeding the trolls. You will never win. You can't win. There's more
No, you
trolls
can't.
than there are of you. It's not one
Yeah,
versus one in every battle. It's one versus everyone. And like I said, turning the people who have been fans of yours for a long time, turning them into fence sitters now, and some of them just becoming not fans of his anymore because of the way he's been acting, right or wrong. It's up to him how he wants to act, but people can, it's obviously going to have repercussions.
totally. Yeah, I mean, it's of course that's his soapbox, to stand up and put his
Yeah,
thoughts out there to the world. No one, I'm not telling him. I'm just having a thought on what I'm seeing,
yeah,
um, and I'm seeing just the negativity grow and grow, and then, like I said, I see one guy just trying to fucking put his 2 cents in just to get, oh, Mark Hunt, fucking talk to me, mate, and then no, or not regard, but like he's not replying to any of his supporters.
yeah, yeah. And
It's weird.
that's where hhis strength is, in his supporters, not in the people who are trying to bait him to get a response. Because those people aren't. He shouldn't be stooping to their level, as we've said. It's kind of not the behavior that you would want. Like after reading his biography, you would hope that he was in a different place to where he has been over the last sort of 20 years. But it seems that the Brock thing has really got to him.
Yeah, yeah, it really, really has. I mean, maybe it's the three now, the fucking Antonio Silva, the Frank
Yeah,
Mir, and now Brock,
the
and
straw that broke the camel's back, and
yeah,
the money.
yeah, too
The
much.
money seems to have been one of the huge contributing factors. Because Brock, what did Brock take home? 12. Is it 12 million?
12
That's
reported as
confirmed.
12. It could be as high as 15. Um, Brock.
Man, that money.
So what did Mark get? If we can say that Brock got potentially 12, 13. I could say safely that Mark got over one.
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know what his pay-per-view point deal is.
No, I don't either. Not at all.
But his retainer is high enough. I think Lucas mentioned offline that it was his entire fight contract was maybe up to 9 million spread over the entire deal. So
Yeah, okay.
he's already got bank. So it's it's just if you compare 9 million over half a dozen fights, for instance, three of them are against guys who are on PEDs, and then you compare that to Brock Lesnar making 12 to 15 off one fight. It's pretty easy to see why Mark feels the way he does.
Yes, but let's talk about Brock Lesnar. I mean, he gets paid that much for a reason.
Yeah.
He is Brock Lesnar. He's the biggest draw that the UFC has ever had. That's a fact. The two, I think he's got the number one and two pay-per-view records. I
Wow.
mean, there's we're not just giving Brock Lesnar money because he's a big cunt. It's because
Yeah.
he is the show, man. They brought him in to fix. I believe they knew John was going to get fucking pulled. I believe they knew they needed something. Connor was out, and
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar saved the day. I mean, what he gets paid is really irrelevant to us. I think the issue here is for Mark. I think he's on the right track, man. If you lose money for coming in overweight, you should fucking lose money for getting busted. It shouldn't just
For
be
sure.
nothing. It shouldn't be nothing. You should lose some of that money.
That's right, because otherwise, guys they're using the system to make money. They're doing the maths and being like, okay, so I'll get banned for 2 years, but I could make 4 million off this fight if if it's pay-per-view points and pay and win money, etc., get a
Yo,
bonus, etc. The UFC might claim some of that money back from you, but if it comes down to money or possibly tarnishing your legacy, some people obviously have just decided it's worth it.
yeah, man. Like Ev said the other night, he
That's right.
quoted Chael as like it's the competition of not getting caught. I mean, the guy who springs to mind for me is Vitor. He's one of my favorite top five fighters, mate, and he's been busted, and we know he's doing it, but he's still one of my top five fighters, and I can't get him out of that picture. But would he have had all that success? Would he be who he was if he hadn't done what he needed to do? I guess needed to do. I'm not sure if that's the right words.
Chose to do.
But yeah, chose. And it sucks for some of these. It does suck for all the natural guys. But
Yep.
there's that line where back in the day everyone was cheating, and then it's become you cheating and trying to get away with it, and it's a race against USADA, and your doctors trying to keep in front of their doctors, and now we're at the point where maybe their doctors are in front, and it's all collapsing. But you can see why they did it, and
Well,
that's it.
money is one of the biggest motivating factors for everyone, and especially professional athletes. It is for many of them it is the number one motivating factor as well. So
Yeah.
if a jab in the ass from a big needle here and there is going to make you millions of dollars, that's an equation that a lot of people would struggle with.
I mean, yeah, man. Imagine, you've struggled for 10, 15 years. You
Yeah.
get to the point, and it's like, here's your title shot, or here's your title contention fight, and your doctor over here, and your buddy's doing really well, and he comes up to you and says, mate, I've got the answer, mate, and they don't know, they can't test for it yet.
Mm.
Do you want to be the champ? And that's got to be, I mean, that must happen every fucking day in those gyms.
Oh,
And
dude,
it's,
the
you know
line,
what I mean?
the line between being the best and just being one of the best is so thin. You know, it could be that supplement X that your mates just waltzed into the gym with, you know, designer drugs from his doctor. You know, it could be the extra run you're doing in the morning, but, you know, why wouldn't you as an athlete try and do as much as you can? But you know, it's whether you would do that much as to push the boundaries, or whether you would just do as much as you can. Like, you know, natural athletes, Dan Hooker, Ev Ting, you know, the Kiwi boys, Luke Jumeau, who we're going to be catching up with soon, etc. Like, big shout out to all those guys and all the natural athletes.
Yeah, man. And so we'll just change the subject slightly. Gabby Garcia. She must be the most
It's not much of a
person
subject
in the
change.
world right now. Like, in the fucking world. It's so obvious, but my problem at the moment, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. She's fighting in Russia or whatever. My problem
Yep.
is MMA fighting, regarded as probably the best. You know, Sherdog, MMA fighting, MMA junkie. Those are the top three for sure. Like, easy. They're doing exposés on this chick. They are doing interview after interview. You know, they got Esther Lynn, one of the best photographers in the world, following her around. Why? Why? There must be someone else that they can fucking hype up, you know? Alexa Grasso or fucking anyone else. Like, this.
And any of the women who are already active in Invicta as a contender,
Anyone else.
I would love that, you know.
This is like the biggest cheater right now. Basically, right now she's just fucking dripping, bro. And they're just giving her 110% attention, and I don't get it. I don't get that at all.
Yeah, it's
She
odd,
should
you
be
know. It's
shut.
like, you know, the power of media as well. You know, you start putting someone in front of everyone's face, and they'll start talking about that person, as we've seen in the past with other champions built by other federations.
Yeah, I just where's the I don't know, man, if I'm clutching at straws, but where's the integrity of that that top three website, man, sending out those resources, those their best resources, and fucking and journalists and photojournalists, and using it for that, you know.
It's you know, they're condoning it in a sense by, you know, they're absolutely condoning it by sending those resources out there to cover, promote, and market her. You know, I agree with you. You know, from what I've seen of Gabby Garcia, I think the word is yoked. she's she's cranking, dude. She's cranking.
She's a woman that she's jacked, bro.
Yeah, she is
As
jacked.
as
Like, you know, like I've been watching a lot of the Olympics recently. Shout out to Valerie Adams taking home that silver.
oh me.
Speaking of like incredibly jacked women, but you know, like some of these female athletes, they have got nothing on Gabby Garcia. You know, and like, damn, she watching her grapple like 2 years ago, she was already scary. Now she's got, well, a tiny bit of striking experience in there. But if did you catch her last fight?
Nah, man, I've heard enough about it, and I saw some of her hitting pads with Babalu yesterday or the day before, and it was atrocious, mate. It was
Let me just
atrocious.
yeah, it definitely was. She was in Vanderlei's coaching staff for the original Tough Brazil, and
Yo,
man, jacked. Let me just pull up
oh,
an
bro,
image.
yeah.
I'm
But
gonna click this one on.
she's obviously a great athlete in her own right. I think she is BJJ champion multiple times, but it's not even. It's like fucking her against kids.
Yeah,
She's fighting them tiny
yeah,
because she's so fucking big.
yeah.
They're
She's
normal.
huge.
Yeah, I had to get that off my chest. I'm sick of seeing her face on my fucking feed, mate, because it's
This is
just blasphemy.
this is Gabby Garcia right here. Yeah, and that was, next to another USADA top five, Vanderlei himself. So yeah,
Yeah,
obviously she's been there or thereabouts for a while, and if you're as good as the company you keep, then it's just a bit.
yeah, that's my piece on Gabby Garcia, mate. It's like,
Well, speaking of non-jacked athletes who I've been a big fan of for a while, Bendo caught up with the bro Ariel Helwani, and they had a solid chat. Not sure if you caught it. If you did catch it, it was a great chat. They spoke about
yep,
some of the stuff that you'd been speaking with Ev. They spoke about sponsorship
yep,
and also something that we just talked about earlier, which is the value of fighters. So in terms of sponsorship, he said to Ariel Helwani that in his last fight, he had one sponsor in Bellator, and that one sponsor almost matched the 15 grand he was on for his Reebok deal for having 20 fights in the UFC.
yep.
Well, in the UFC, Zuffa, the entire deal.
Umbrella,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so that's almost 15 grand from one sponsor. So the UFC fighters now have got their hands tied with that Reebok deal. So that's 20 fights. There's not a lot of people who have got 20 fights plus in the UFC.
Uh,
So that's definitely veterans money, and he went out, got one sponsor, smashed that, and it's crazy. It's just crazy the amount of money that he could be making now that he's free of that Reebok deal.
yeah, I mean, I, obviously no one's really said anything good about Reebok. Dan Hooker actually said some good things. He thought it was great, guaranteed money, guaranteed all these bag full of clothes and stuff. But he's one of the minority. I know not Vitor said he's lost millions of dollars because of Reebok, millions.
Wow.
And he said once I finish fighting, I'm going to be. Well, this is when Vanderlei was talking about all fucking trying to change the world, but Vitor was in the same boat. He goes, once I'm done, I'm gonna step up and try and change this shit for these young guys because he said it was bullshit.
Yeah. Well, it's tough, man. Like, even speaking of young guys, Mighty Mouse, he had the Xbox deal. The Xbox deal
Fuck
was
yeah.
a quarter of a million alone. That's the Xbox deal.
Yo,
So,
yeah.
that's, dude, that no one's sneezing at $250,000.
Well, nah, bro. Well, yeah, Mighty Mouse. That's all he needed. He had Xbox, and that was it. And fucking if you cast your mind back to Vitor, he had Sky fucking TV, someone. Oops, sorry, my seats. Someone there, someone there, someone there. He would have been up to that crazy money, and it must be tough pill to swallow, man. Real tough.
Yeah, you're right. Like, giving up money is tough for anyone, but when you're giving up millions, that would be a bitter pill to swallow, especially when, you're one of the people who made the sport what it is. Because, Vitor Belfort, he is one of the pillars that MMA, the UFC were built on.
Yo, I mean, yeah, man, he deserve you. You don't get all those sponsors because you fucking don't deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He earned all that shit. He earns it, and got taken away by some people that are $4 billion,
Billionaires.
mate.
Yeah.
And they take that away from you. You know what I mean? I'm surprised. Well, it's hard for them to speak out, but I don't know. I'm surprised we haven't heard more about it.
Yeah, well, like Dan said when I caught up with him, it's with for him, as someone with 20 years left in the game, possibly with the UFC the entire time, it's hard to speak openly
Yeah,
about these
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
Mark's at arguably at the twilight of his career, so for Mark to speak openly about these things, it's a different game for him.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely you're definitely right, man. No one wants to. Mate, you can get kicked out of the. I was thinking about Manaroa the other day, bro.
Oh,
I was
dude.
like, what's that cunt fucking doing?
That was
You know,
BS
he
as
ain't
well,
doing
wasn't it?
shit. He ain't doing
That
shit.
guy's
You
still,
know,
he's
yeah,
still
Māori
like,
fella says the N word fucking 10
yeah,
years ago on his Twitter and he gets
yeah,
cut down, bro. Like, that's it. So, I mean, they have the power to do whatever the fuck they want. They choose if you fight. And yeah, I can see how a young guy would not want to say. And then them getting to UFC is getting paid more than where they were at anyway. So you ain't gonna
yeah.
fuck that up, you know.
No, that's right. You know, like Ev said to you, he's the ONE FC contracts are different. You know, they're there for a period of time, and they have
Yeah.
guaranteed fights per year. So, you know, Ev, sounded like Ev was doing great and loving it, etc.
Yeah, yeah, he seemed like he was doing great, and then he was just looking to fight the best. Really, was what he was saying, I think. So
Yeah.
we all know where that is. I saw an interview with Kimbo Slice Jr. today. He was doing a live Facebook feed for Bellator, and the last question for him was, "Would you go anywhere else?" And he was Bellator for life. Like,
Wow.
and there's a few there. There was nowhere else for him. Um, and he's just getting started, I guess. I've heard the same from a couple of Bellator, and they're getting looked after. So,
It's that chance to earn
uh,
the chance to earn that they all have. Everyone's on a like the Bellator. It's like the UFC used to be. It's like go and get your money. Like we'll put you on a stage. You go and get that money.
yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. They just need to. They could always do better, Bellator. Um, but
They have a
they got,
huge following. Like they have that huge TV market. Like everything they do
yeah,
is free. They don't do pay per view, so they get the ratings, man.
yeah, yeah. They're doing all right. I don't get to see much of it. I usually catch replays and stuff of the main fights, but they obviously have a few ex UFC stars in there, and then you watch, like you see Bendo go over there, and you think, "Fuck, he's going to tear it up." Nah,
And
no, he
then
didn't tear it up at all. So that proves their
hold
talent
up.
pool. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Just because they're not in the UFC doesn't mean they're not amongst the best in the
No.
world. Like, we saw something you spoke about to Ev, the IMAF, IMMAF. Little old country like New Zealand, we can take to that big stage where everything's even. Everything's the same, and just like if you remember the Formula One version of that that they had a few years ago, where it was country versus country, all the specs were the same. It was basically down to the drivers and the crews. New Zealand just pulled ahead and just showed that when everything is level, we can do it.
I Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Anything you wanted to have a chat about?
I don't know. I'm not chat about. I'm looking forward to doing some more interviews. I'm glad.
Hell
Hopefully,
yeah.
people are enjoying our podcast and our interviews. I know, for me, it was like, does anyone even want to hear fucking me talk, like, realistically? But we're going to do it anyway. And
You were
and the
great.
interviews, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more interviews and trying to get some fucking big ones too, some surprising ones that you don't think that I can get. That's what I'm going after now.
Hey, well, get at us. Anyone who wants to be on, get at us. Like, we'd love to have people on. We got a bunch of people lined up, a bunch of New Zealanders that have been doing it on the world stage that we've been supporting, and we're just going to get their name out there as well. But anyone who wants to get at us, we're keen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kieran Joblin, he's fighting.
The
I'll get
stone
some
cutter.
links up. The Stonecutter, which some dude, fucking, they posted it the other day. Some guy did a mini documentary on him and James Bishop, down at Strike Force. Sorry, it's not Strike Force. It's the Canterbury gym. Those three gyms that all come together. It was a mean documentary. I don't know if you saw it. I'll send it to you soon, bro. Kieran Joblin's fighting twice in the next couple of months, and I just want to shout out to Kieran Joblin, and
Yeah.
Brogan Anderson will be fighting on the same. I think it's CFC. We'll get links up on the pages, but those Kiwi boys are
I'll
just
put some links in this
fucking
video.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, and your interview with Ken Joblin that you did a couple of months ago, what was that? That was your cherry interview? Oh no, Tahuna on the coast, back in the day.
Nah, yeah, well, Kieran was my cherry Skype like shit, and I
Yeah,
made a few mistakes in that, as you do, and I can't wait to do Kieran again, and that will be coming in the near future.
nice. I'll check some links in this about to that video itself. It's a great interview. And yeah, if you want to catch any of our interviews, they're all on the Combat Sports channel. Yeah,
Yeah, and I guess if anyone out there wants us to do someone in particular, fucking tell us, man. Could be someone no one's ever heard of. That's even better. Like,
that's the
let
best.
us know, man. Yeah, man. Fuck. Everyone else is, if they've already had 20 interviews, let's do someone else.
Also, sometimes some of the best interviews you can get out of someone who hasn't had the limelight as much as sometimes those more popular fighters who have had 3 interviews already that week, for instance, they can get a bit tired.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep this under wraps, but I've got someone hopefully lined up, and they would do the same interview probably every fucking day. You know what I mean? And I'm going to try and hit it. I'm going to try and hit it from the side and do something totally different. And I hope I can pull it off, and have them excited again about talking about fucking fighting every day, training every day.
Brilliant. That's great, and that's what we love to do is just get get a. Different angle.
Yeah, bro. Hard.
Million. So fights next weekend. The big one for you.
Come over, bro. Come over. I'll cook you a steak, man, and fucking we can have some smokos outside. Big fight for me. I want Rumble to annihilate Glover, and I like Glover, but
Yeah.
I just want the best for Rumble, bro. I just want him to fucking just do well. Um, there's a couple of others. Neil Magny, I'm looking forward to. I try not to. I try and almost not like I like to know the card, but I want to watch every fight, and I try to not hype up certain fights that might make me, oh, I'm going to go have a ciggy or a coffee now. This person's fight, like, because those are the most surprising fights, the ones you maybe
Yeah.
don't know, and those are the ones that
Called
can be
dark
really good.
dark matches.
Yeah,
Last
and I
match,
got
toilet match, dark match.
yeah, and I got $20. I'm still supporting the Irishman. I know that's
No
going to
doubt.
get a lot of love out there, but I still support the Irishman, and I always have, and he's been good to me because none of my mates support him, and I've had some good times with that dude, so I'm still going Irish all the way.
Nice one, nice one. Well, I have very little love for Conor McGregor. I reckon that guy should get back down to his own division if he can still make the weight and defend his motherfucking title instead of having other people fight for it.
Hey man, let's put some respect on his name, bro. He has made the game. He's changed the game, man.
For sure,
You
game
got
changer
fucking
for sure.
Eddie Alvarez calling out different people. You got Tyrone doing his thing, even though that's not going to happen. But it's changed the game. Like, we got Nick Diaz potentially fighting anyone. Well, title. Even though
GSP
maybe
rematch. I'd
Nick
like to
might
see
have
GSP
started it.
rematch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
GSP. I mean, Nick
Well,
might have started
those,
that roller coaster.
well,
With his
like
fighting crazy.
the yeah, the famous interview, post-fight interview with Rogan and Nate Diaz, where Nate Diaz is like, Conor McGregor, taking everything I work for, motherfucker. Like, that is, one of the classic post-fight interviews.
Yeah, yeah, and even his brother, he was always into that fight anyone. Not really. This is not for a title or title contention. It's because this fight makes sense. I don't know. Put some respect on Conor McGregor's name, man. Put some respect on it. You
Um,
know what?
I'm gonna check
I like
that up.
supporting guys that no one else is supporting. I fucking love it.
Oh yeah, because no one's supporting Conor McGregor.
No one that I know, not in my circle, that's for sure. He's got a lot of support out there, but No one that I talk to. They fucking hate him.
All right, here we go. Cool. So this is next week's card, obviously. The big fight.
Rick Story, Donald Cerrone. I forgot about that. That is a great fight. Has to be.
Yeah, dude, look at that. Look at Rick's story.
Yeah. He's just come back from USADA holiday, so he's looking fantastic. Look at him.
Like he's looking jacked. He looks like he was. Yeah, I wonder. Looks like he was doing a whole bunch of illegal shit on that holiday.
Yeah. What's his? Has he got his height there? I think he's a short guy.
70 inches. What the fuck is that? Hang on, maths.
Tall? No.
5'8".
Oh yeah. Not that. Well. Yeah, I mean, he looks jacked. If you asked me to smell test him right now, I would say he failed.
Yeah, dude, look at the guy. He's jacked like a motherfucker.
Let's appreciate Donald Cerrone in his natural fucking habitat, mate. Like, there's a natural. That's the natural fighter right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on him.
Who is this
fucking
guy?
legend?
Who is this dude? Who is this guy?
Where?
Perry.
Oh, Perry. Don't know, bro. He might be a great replacement or something. It must be his first fight. Oh, it is too.
What?
Yeah, he's got 0 stats.
Oh no. Yeah.
He must be good. How do you get? He must be a replacement, bro, because he's on the fucking main card.
Oh, when's CM Punk?
Oh, what?
When's CM Punk?
Not sure, bro. Did you watch the documentary they put out on him?
I did not. That sounds funny.
Sounds terrible.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, neither. I didn't watch it either.
This is the fight, Cody Garbrandt. This is basically what he's talking about. He's like he said Cruiser got the title shot after fighting Takeya Mitsugaki and beating him. So if he beats Mitsugaki, he's basically saying it's on. Cruiser's saying, let's do this then. Well, why are your mouth shut, bruh? One of my favorite female fighters, Randa Marcos.
Randa.
Versus Courtney Casey. She's always a gamer, Randa. She just fights so hard.
Yeah, let's just go back to Cody and Mitsugaki. It's not a bad fight. I mean, he has to not only win, though, but win convincingly.
Yeah,
to get a shot at the
over 15 minutes.
Yeah, bro, he has to go out there and dominate. And because let's not compare him with Dominic Cruz. He was the champ. He can beat the number fucking 10 or 11 and still get a title shot. It's different apples and oranges, man.
Well, this also plays to something that Dan Hooker said when he said the rankings are not with the paper that they're written on, because you got number 8 and 11 facing off here, and then if number 8 wins, he's going straight to the title shot. It's like, what?
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
The rankings, it's always been what the fans want, hasn't it? It's always been like that. We try and put the 3 and the 4 together and the 1 and the 2 together, but in the scheme of things, bro, if enough people talk about that fight, then do it.
Yeah.
It's probably fucking Dominic's probably beaten 2, 3, 4, and 5 anyway.
True. He is
probably.
He probably has, eh?
What else you got on there, bro? Oh, Raquel Pennington.
Yeah.
I can't read it from here. Phillips.
Elizabeth Phillips.
Oh, you got fucking Connor's right-hand man there, or what's his name? Lobov?
Yeah, that's it. Artem Lobov.
The Russian Emma. against
versus another
this
shadow
guy.
fighter.
Fuck,
Chris,
he's 12 and 12, man.
dude,
How does it?
he's
That
clearly
speaks, bro.
the
Put some respect, yeah, bro. Put some respect, some more respect on Conor McGregor, bro, because that dude. That's why he's there, man.
He's taking his boys with him.
12 and 12. What about old
It's
Neil
like
Magny?
the beast.
Neil Magny and Renz Larkin. Good
Man, that's
scrap.
a hell of a fight. I gotta
What
go
do
with
you?
Neil Magny. He's already
Yeah,
beaten someone who is arguably more dangerous than Lorenz Larkin, but in the same mold when he beat what's his name? Aussie, lives in Aussie from Cuba.
Hector.
Hector Lombard.
Hector Lombard.
Son
That
of USADA
was a
himself.
great. Yeah, that was a great fight just for the fact that Hector just
Man,
deserved that. He deserved that, and it
yeah,
was great to watch.
yeah, man, it was excellent, excellent. Yeah, so
Yes.
Lorenz Larkin, obviously a very dangerous striker, but man, Magny's a beast. You know, he looks like he could fight for 15 minutes.
Yeah, and from the Hector fight, now we know he can take a fucking ass kicking and still come back and
And
win.
bounce
I
back.
mean, it was just about out. This card's, I haven't really looked into it, but it's looking not bad at all.
Yeah, that looks great, eh? It's kind of just crept up. You know, feels like it was 2 weeks ago that we had just watched 201. Um, you know, so
Um, what do you think about this? Like early prelims, they got that good fight on there last.
yeah,
You know, they
I think
used
it's
to
great.
have three nobodies on there. I think it's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
awesome. I think it's smart. It's smart as
Like
shit.
I'm like you know, I've always watched from fight one to the main event. You know, I've always watched the early prelims all the way
Yeah,
through. Then you know, watch the prelims all the way through, and then watch the main card. Just because you know, any fight could be the fight.
yeah, yeah. I don't get the guys. Well, they must be new, but there's no names on this card. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Names don't make cunts fucking have wars, mate. The new guys are usually fighting for their lives, mate. Like,
yeah.
don't worry about their name. It's nice to have on the poster and shit, and it can get you excited. But for me and you and anyone I know that's really into it, bro, scrap's a scrap, mate. And you
And you
never
know,
know
those
what's
big
going to
names.
happen.
You know, like you say, sometimes those big names have got so much to lose they don't want to lose anything. So you
Yeah,
know,
be
and
careful. Yeah,
we've seen big names shut down a fight because they would rather win over 25 minutes than lose at all. You know,
yeah, yeah,
no
and
one
they know so much about each other that they cancel each other out and
yeah.
fucking, they know what the other guy's going to do. And they're so
Think of
cautious.
any of the last sort of 8 to 10 GSP fights. You know, that's kind of what you're talking about there. Like a guy who is so well honed at shutting opponents down and doing the things he's good at that you know those fights become non-fights in the end. Here's one I know that you're looking forward to: Rumble Glover.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't look forward to that? I mean,
Yeah,
two
huge stuff.
big power hitters. So you're saving if you're talking about fucking ranking systems. These are your one and two going at it.
True,
You know,
true.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah,
Happens more there often than not. Really.
these guys are wow. Cerrone has dropped to 14th.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he has.
He obviously has. But yes, that's a man, that's a good card. The Dirty Bird just slipped right under the radar there, fighting
Is
another
he
shadow fighter in Sabah Homasi, the Punisher.
the Punisher? The Dirty Bird. Tim Means. Yeah, good on him. He's still going hard.
Bro, solid fighter. I love watching Tim
Yeah,
Means fight.
yeah. He
This
goes. He
guy's not even
goes.
from a country. This guy has no record, no country.
He's from,
It's like
from that refugee state that fucking in the Olympics.
Kazakhstan. But yeah, so that is a main card. So that's, usually the cards are kicking off with time difference, usually kicking off between sort of 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., the early prelims. So that's good timing for New Zealand.
Yeah,
Making that.
yeah, I enjoy it. It's good. It's I don't know, Saturday night would be better, but hey, Sunday Arvo's just as good. What was I listening to the other day? It was the do you know the Manchester fight with Bisping and Hendo?
Yeah, yeah.
They'll be walking out and fighting at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Awesome. That's great. Reminds me of like the old days, getting up and watching like Premier League
No, no, no,
finals.
they will be fighting. Dan
Yeah.
Hendo's got a like.
Oh,
No, no,
4 o'clock
it's not playing here.
local
It's
time.
not playing here at 4. They will be at local time in Manchester. Dan Hendo will
I
be
thought
walking into the cage at 4 in the fucking morning.
I thought the UFC stopped doing that to prioritize it for US broadcasting time.
They must have. Well, it's a pay per view, right? It's
But yeah, that doesn't like
it's,
they had stopped doing that, like making the fighters fight at ridiculous local times just so that it fits into the prime time in the US. But obviously, that's not the case now.
yeah. So his plan is to just fly there and pretend it's still the same time as
Not even
where he
given the
was
time
where
zone.
he was at, because
Yeah,
then to him it's the same. Bisping's
yeah.
going to have to fucking change though, no matter what. He's probably slowly changing. Yeah, but man, that's a bit of a variable for the fight, those fights.
See, like it's like obviously the prior, that tells you what the priority is.
Of course, that's
And,
always known
and
what the priority
fighters.
is, bro.
Yeah.
That's the
Something
priority.
something we haven't spoken about yet. Speaking of priorities, fighters union. Something spoken. We've spoken briefly about it.
Um, what do you know about unions, bro? Because I don't know anything.
I've been part of unions in the past when you sign collective employment agreements, etc. And
Yeah,
I only know them to be great as an employee. I
yep,
only know them to be great. They're a great tool for employees to leverage the company to get what they want. Um, Different scenario when you're talking about a whole bunch of individual contracts and individual employees, which is
yes,
the case in the fight game in the UFC, etc. Like,
yes,
but if you look at the NBA, those guys are all on different term contracts, different money. Some people are on 10-game contracts. Some guys have got a 1 year contract for 4 million. Some guys have got a 3 year contract for 108 million. So they have an NBA Players Association. NBA Players Association caused a lockout a few years ago. There's probably another lockout coming in a couple of years with the way
okay,
politics in the NBA are going. So if you look at that as a blueprint for the potential for a players association slash union in the UFC,
yeah,
potential there's potential there. Like I'm not au fait on what the differences and similarities are in that scenario, but
yeah.
absolutely there's potential.
That's good, man. Obviously, I want the best for all the fighters. The
As you guys
$4 billion
talked about,
price tag, eh?
yeah, 4.9, almost 5, 4.9 billion. But like as you and
Was
Ed
it?
talked about, yeah, you said to him, it's like, is that fair, or have you already decided your value when you sign that dotted line? And that
So
question really
yeah,
sort of resonated with me. I was like, effectively, you have already signed your value.
yeah. You go in there, and they say, "Hey, we're going to pay you 20 grand to fight, 20 grand to win," and you either say, "Fuck yes, man! I mean, I'll be getting fucking $500," or you say, "Well, actually, I'd like 30." And you
Yeah,
sit down, and I don't know what it's like, man. They make it out like it's a fucking some kind of like Dana White's like, no, no, this is how he probably doesn't even. I don't know, bro, but yeah, you're independent. First of all, you're an independent contractor, and you sign your own worth in a contract. And the second
yeah,
thing is the union has to be accepted by the UFC, Like, you can have all the unions you want.
That's right.
They have to work. They have to work together for the fucking, to make everything better.
That's right.
I
The
don't.
UFC have to acknowledge the union and give the union power. Otherwise,
I
the union can it's like if you and I create a fighters union and we're like, nah, we don't believe you're paying Dan Hooker enough money. You pay him money right now, or that's it. Like, that means nothing.
Yeah.
That means absolutely nothing.
And let's break it down a little bit more. A main event, a star at the moment, I believe they get it's around about 500 grand for a fight, right? A Daniel Cormier, someone like that.
That's for
Have
a
you heard
title
this?
holder. I think that's for a title holder with under the Reebok deal. Is that, or you're talking about the UFC deal?
No, I'm not talking about your Reebok at all. That's what they get paid, like say DC or 500 Gs. Say a title holder, 500 Gs.
I thought that, like, say you signed a eight fight contract, and then on your third fight you won the title. I didn't know that you would be then on a different pay scale. I thought, you've got 5 fights left on your shitty old non-champion contract.
Yeah, you get a new contract. I don't know if it's fucking every single person, but the majority of them sign a new contract when they get the title.
Wow, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so the union comes in, and what are they going to do? Make a base for your first 5 fights, or
It's that's effectively what a union does. Is they negotiate the contracts. They have like a collective bargaining power as a union, whereas an individual doesn't have, in many cases, doesn't have the power to bargain their value, which is
yeah,
it's kind of where the confusion comes in here, because like you guys discussed and we've discussed, you've already signed that check. You've already accepted that check, and that check was based on the value that you thought you held at the time. So it's kind of
yeah,
like a paradox.
yeah. I don't know. Chael Sonnen on his podcast said obviously these fighters are managed by managers, and
Yeah.
he reckons there's only about 5 or 6 or 7 actual managers, and they handle most of those fighters. So
Oh.
he believes, it really should be in these guys' hands. I mean, I don't fucking know where I'm going with this, but
Well, I guess what you're saying is there's already a handful of representatives uh, in those managers. So really,
yeah,
if those guys could make it official, make a conglomerate like a managers association or something that works for the fighters, then that they are the ones who really have the power to approach the UFC and say, no, my fighter's not going to do this, and his fighter's not going to do this. Our fighters are not going to do this unless this is the minimum that all fighters from now on are getting paid. That's a huge industrial action move, though.
yeah, it is. Another point is that 4.5 billion or whatever. When you compare that to the NBA or the NFL, that's like one team. You know what I mean? That's not the worth of a whole fucking NBA. It's one
No.
team. It,
Yeah.
and these guys have got 500 plus fighters they got to pay, not fucking 20 people or. Yeah, no, I don't know how much
Well,
money. There's obviously more money
the
there, but
staffing, yeah, the staffing of a NBA basketball association, like a franchise in the NBA, the Lakers, etc., would be huge.
yeah, oh,
Potentially,
yeah.
a big market team like that would rival the UFC in terms of employees worldwide. So,
Yeah,
you know,
that's sort of what I'm getting at. that one team, and they. Well, I guess you've made that point there. Then they can pay those guys that much money. Where's that money?
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
um the LA Lakers were worth 2.6 billion um in 2015. So that's probably the most valuable team in the NBA. Went for just over half of what the UFC went for. But that's the team's estimated value. Like if they were actually to sell that team, then the actual value would be realized then, and who knows how much someone would pay to own the Lakers.
yeah, yeah. It goes. It can be bought for more than it's actually worth, for sure. If
Oh,
someone's got enough
hard
money
man.
and they
Look
really
look
want
at the housing market in New Zealand.
it. Fucking hell.
So, yeah, that that's all good points, but I'd love to actually get someone on here who was a bit more of a union expert. That might be something that we can look at for the coming weeks, even just to have that discussion.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be good. Like I said, I don't really know enough. Like I'm just bits of info that I've
Yes, same.
heard.
Like I only know the real world applications as I've experienced them as an employee. I've never been an employer in a company big enough to have a union.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Me, bro. Should we
Okay.
should we knock this one out?
Yeah, man.
It's
Knock it
been a
out.
solid hour.
Yeah, we played pretty quick. It was fun, man. It was good.
That's always good. I'm going to cut the broadcasting.
Yeah, bro.
Thanks for watching, everybody. From
Yeah, man.
myself, JB, and from this dude.
Yeah, kia ora, everyone. Thanks for fucking lending us your ears. I hope we didn't bore you too much. Let us know and send us a comment, man. Give us some shit. Give us some praise, whatever. Just
Yeah,
let us know you're there.
yeah, that's it. All right, sweet. Later, everybody.